Josh Sachs here again with another episode of Local Pros. With me today, I have the person who finished first at the 2024 Kings Forest Open and is the three-time consecutive winner of the Northern Ontario Championship, which is probably the longest anyone's ever held a single tournament title, as far as I can research in PDGA. The Wizard of Oz, Chris Ozolins. Welcome, sir.
Thanks, Josh. I have to make a correction, though. You're going to hate me for this.
Oh, no.
I believe Cam Zanini was last year's Northern Ontario champion.
No, I didn't say current.
Okay.
In fairness,
you
did win.
He needs a shout out for that, though. Fantastic. Yeah.
You won 3 in a row, and the only reason you didn't have 4 was because of COVID, potentially, or someone else winning in 2020.
Yeah,
but
those are my courses up there in Thunder Bay.
Well, that's right. He didn't even win in Thunder Bay. It doesn't count.
Wolf Tracks is a hell of a course, though, to win on. So credit to him.
I mean, provincials 2 of the last 3 years going up there, so.
And there's a bit of a surprise up there this year too. I'm not going to say what it is yet, but
I'm sure we're all looking forward to it. So before we get into your history in disc golf, what were you doing before you found the sport?
With my free time?
Yes.
Playing a lot of hockey. That was my sport. I guess my grinded out sport during. I found disc golf right kind of during the intro to university, and I was playing a lot of hockey. Probably pick up hockey every day or league hockey, whatever. And this kind of replaced that for me, honestly. Always doing something competitive, but that was my sport before disc golf.
And you've just given up hockey entirely?
No, but it's definitely something I'll do once a week right now, if that. But it used to be like a 6-7 night a week endeavor.
Wow.
Now disc golf's a 6-7 night a week endeavor, and hockey taking back.
I wish I could dedicate more time to disc golf like that. It's just finding something around. I'm in kind of the disc golf dead zone at the moment in Markham.
Oh yeah, with all the course. Well, in Markham, you say, right?
Yes.
If you go check bids and tenders for City of Markham, you'll notice that there's a disc golf course being built there this year.
I understand things are coming.
Yeah.
They aren't in the ground yet. I also understand last year, if I'm not crazy, you were playing through a bit of an injury for a chunk of the year. Was it your shoulder or your elbow that you were having?
I actually hurt my shoulder, my AC joint, which is that little bump everyone can feel on their shoulder here. And then because of the drive to play, I had a compensation injury, which is tennis elbow. Not fun, but it's a good year to host nationals. I'll say that. Took my mind off playing so much, but it was very frustrating. And then doing some physiotherapy over the winter, I was able to get rid of it. And so I'm feeling good now.
And you came out swinging, taking down the first OCC stop of the year at Kings Forest.
Wasn't too bad, yeah.
I guess you're healed up now, or is there still anything lingering?
Feels perfect now. Honestly, I barely remember what it felt like to have that elbow, but it's something that I think a lot of disc golfers, I've spoken with a bunch of disc golfers out there. It's becoming more common even in Ontario. When I first got it, speaking with Thomas Hums, who had gone through the whole thing and had his scrapers and his suction cups and whatnot, and kind of fed me some different solutions. But since then, since I've gotten over it, I've heard from countless other disc golfers who've had that issue. So it might be something that, interestingly enough, we could share some information on in the future because it is becoming more prevalent.
So it's funny. The first time I met you was probably my first time playing Bronte on some cold, snowy December or January, I can't really remember, morning. And you were out there with J-Mac and Wally and going through shoveling tee pads just to play around a disc golf. And it's just, you guys were amazing. It was fun to watch, fun to learn from you guys. And also the fact that you guys are out there, you're shoveling off tee pads, that's how you should treat the sport. It's respect for the property and making sure you're not messing it up for the next people to come through.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And honestly, it's like some great lessons learned from like my first ever, my first time at that course. And I was gonna say the first tournament I think I was at. I don't know if you remember this.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Satellite ran by Karahovius, the TD extraordinaire.
At the wonderful P15 golf course where I guess
Will be
we'll
next
both
weekend.
be
Yeah.
this weekend.
Yeah.
You and Colleen taking it down that year. Uh, awesome to see. Hopefully, you'll both be on the winners in the winner's circle this weekend. But it remains to be seen and remains to be played. That course is ever evolving. So
Yeah.
I'm interested to see if you can hit another ace on hole 9 now that Gabe's changed the design a little bit on you.
Oh yeah. Gabe said there's quite a few changes apparently when I was talking to him. So I'm looking forward to hoping to get up there early in practice. But yeah, I think that was one of Project 15's kind of introductions. I know we had a tournament before that year, but kind of introduction to the public at least was getting people up there. And
Was there like I wanted to say like an Ontario the provincials that was one of the courses it was at because it was held in Peterborough, but there might have been something else because I'd heard
I
that was a
want to
big
say
event.
when Provincials was in Peterborough, I think, and don't quote me on this because I could totally be wrong. I want to say we used Project 15 for one round, Viamede for one round, and then Riverside for a round. I probably have the disc somewhere because I definitely did not win that Provincials. I think that was Marty, but
Yeah, let's see. Course with lots of trees. Course with lots of trees. Sort of
I
open.
remember the stamp on the disc was. Oh, I want to say no. I don't know. It had to have been Project 15. I think that was the first year for sure.
Yeah, which I mean, great course. I wish there was the capacity to have more stuff there. It's tough on that property to get a lot of people through in a day, which is I guess why they set it up as doing 2 shotgun rounds a day for both days this weekend.
Yeah, good weekend to have it though. That place gets covered in bugs come the midsummer, so we're good now.
Yes. So aside from being a player, you were also you spent time as the ODSA executive director. Is that still your position in name, or you're now the president?
I'm the president of the
I'm
board
being
for
a
the
little behind
ODSA.
on those things.
Yeah, we used to have a director position. It used to be a different structure. So when I first came onto the ODSA, we were publicly funded a little bit. So it was nothing significant whatsoever, but there was a paid position on the ODSA at the time that was supposed to orchestrate and execute any programming that we had. That wore out pretty quick within the first 2 years. And then we went to a full nonprofit, no employee organization. And we've been there for at least, I want to say 4.5 years now in that capacity. So we just have a volunteer board, and that's what I'm the president of right now. And we happen to have our AGM coming up next Tuesday at 8:30 p.m. We've been posting that across social. Anyone interested in becoming part of even our board at large, but our executive positions as well, would love to have you put your hat in the ring because it's just a collaborative effort. Not everyone volunteers to the same capacity, but everyone on that board has a voice. So it's always nice to hear from different regions and different capacities.
And I know you're also the PJ. I want to say the term's coordinator. I don't know what they use on their site anymore, but you're the coordinator for Ontario.
You got it. Yeah. Which
means
essentially amounts to somebody who puts the calendar together and makes sure there's no overlap between events. Arbitrator, if there is a debate about who gets what weekend, try to work with both TDs and sort that out.
Are there any specific rules about hosting events that people may not know when you're trying to design the season or organize the season, I should say?
I mean, I think we ask a lot of our TDs nowadays. Like it's become the norm to ask for events, dates, registration, to know all that before the year actually ends, the previous year ends. So, a lot of the time I'm asking for dates by February 1st to put our calendar together. I mean, it's reasonable to assume you're not all going to be ready for that, but that's something that we're asking TDs to do now, is at least have a rough idea of the weekend you're going to use, because it does help us organize. When it comes to distance requirements, the PDG actually cut them in half in the last 2 years. So, it used to be 300 miles between, let's say, two A tiers. Now it's 150. A B and a C is even less than that. Two C's is almost nothing. And that's because we have the capacity to field to have full fields attend both events now. There's so many disc golfers in Ontario. We all know about the rush to click on some of the bigger events. So there's not many issues right now with overlap in Ontario. For instance, the London event is running the same weekend as the Newcastle event, and we're just flip-flopping the days they're using for their unique divisions, and I'm sure they're both going to fill and be fantastic events.
Yeah, it was kind of funny. I was looking at his, not this coming weekend, but next weekend is just, it seems like there's a tournament, all the like 4 tournaments across the province,
and they're all full.
And
Some Where are you going to be that weekend, Josh?
I'm going to say probably in the office, making sure everyone's personal taxes get filed.
Fair enough.
This weekend, I get a little bit of a pass. Next weekend, we better make sure everything's getting across the finish line by April 30th. So.
Yeah, fair enough. Fair enough.
So one of the things I knew about you probably almost as soon as I met you was that you're also a course designer. And you've designed courses like King's Forest, Lynbrook, which you did with Paul Saftich, La Fortune. You've done some redesigns on Dragon Hills, and the list kind of goes on and on from there. What got you into doing course design?
I think naturally as players, we all kind of critique everything we do. You can't walk through a course. I don't think anyone can walk through a course without thinking, oh, that line would be fantastic, or I wish this was open. I think we do that when we're driving too. Anytime I drive up north, I know I'm looking at every farmer's field with a pond in it, going, oh man, how provocative would that be? But I think naturally, kind of being part of the ODSA definitely helps kind of leapfrog me into a position to do this. But a lot of folks wanted a resource for disc golf on their property, or would be reaching out to us and not have someone who could help facilitate that. And so kind of through a crash course, and in my experience with Brawny Creek first, because we did a bit of a redesign at Brawny. We've added second basket locations. We've added new tee pads over the years, kind of acquired the skills necessary to start doing this. Took some training with the John Hook program initially too, just for what to look at, the types of opportunities to see. You have to kind of see a hole in 4 dimensions when you design it. And then when the opportunity came knocking, I was available to facilitate. And I think once you get a few courses under your belt, it's more of like a proven trust type of thing. And as a disc golfer myself, who can both throw forehands and backhands, I think it makes me a little bit more capable of looking at an opportunity and saying, like, how do we structure this strategically so there's multiple options, multiple throws to achieve this? And it's just a whole lot of fun. I mean, anyone who's designed a course will probably tell you that. It's also really, really frustrating. It's a lot of wandering aimlessly, trying to figure out where things go. But yeah, just the opportunity met a desire to do it, being part of the ODSA. And so that's where it started.
And have it from your perspective, I guess, in your experience, is it more people coming to you looking for help designing something, or are you also reaching out to municipalities and stuff like that, saying, we know there's, we notice there's a lack of opportunity for disc golfers in this area, and there's some perhaps underutilized city-owned green spaces where something could work?
I think it's evolved, definitely. It used to be where we had to almost 100% of the time reach out. And it's definitely been, especially in the last 4 years, like post-COVID, it's been fielding phone calls and then kind of pointing people in the right direction. I don't have to design every course. It doesn't financially make a lot of sense. You're not making money off of designing courses at scale yet. So back in the day, my number one rule though is you need a local champion to build a disc golf course. You need someone who's going to help facilitate the club growth, who's going to have that ownership, or that sense of, I guess ownership's the right word, over the course, and want to see it grow, regardless of where you you build something. So, for instance, I might have an opportunity in Markham and not know anyone there. I don't think I'd necessarily pursue that unless there was somebody in that region who you could see as that owner, that champion for your project. So a lot of the time it's not calls from the municipality, it's calls from somebody who's willing to do the work and is looking for a little bit of help. And that's how a lot of the courses that we put in the ground have come to be.
Wonderful. Well, much appreciated discussion, hearing about that kind of stuff. I maybe one day get a little more into that, but it's definitely a left turn from accounting into disc golf course design and building.
Hey, there's a lot of spreadsheets still, so who knows?
Was there anything you were working on this off season outside of getting back to 100% healthy in your game?
In my disc golf game, putting's the off-season champion every year. I mean, we have our Bronny Creek Putt Club, our indoor putt club, but just so much of it's mental. Trying to figure out where consistency comes from is everyone's kind of pursuit. So I just worked on that this winter. Tried to take a bit of more of a laid back approach to putting, and I think it's been working so far. I think if I could track my stats, despite my poor performance last weekend, the putting stats still really good. So I'm happy about that.
I was actually totally forgot to mention this. Last year's Bronny Classic disc was actually one of yours. It was a putter of yours.
It was Daredevil Discs graciously offered me well, first of all, long story here. I'm going to make it short as possible. They sponsored nationals last year, and as a partial sponsor for the field events we had there, and they sent us a couple boxes of their Polar Bear and Bighorn putters. I was a Firefly / what do they call it? When alpaca putter, it's all the same disc. Initially, and I got my hands on one of these Bighorns from Daredevil, and I said, this is the same damn disc that I was putting with before, but it's from a Canadian manufacturer. Reached out to them. I said, how would you like to do a collaboration? They said, absolutely, this is fantastic. And so they gave me a putter. It's fun. I like it. It's in 2 different plastics. It's always kind of neat to have your name and design on something, and so I'm using them now.
And if you say it's like an alpaca, it's just going to bring even more comparisons between you and Oakley.
I don't have a ninja on it though, so
that's because you really didn't want to steal his brand.
They don't play nearly as much. What does he do? It's not. It's a video game he always uses where they do raids. What's it called?
Oh God.
It's not Diablo. It's the other one.
It's not. It's World of Warcraft.
On a computer.
I don't know. I should know better.
World of Warcraft. Boom. That's what it's called.
Warcraft.
He plays a lot of Warcraft, and so a lot of his stamps and jerseys and whatnot with ThoughtSpace are based out of that kind of world.
So you're wearing the ThoughtSpace. How do you still the part of the ThoughtSpace family, so to speak?
Still part of the ThoughtSpace family, absolutely. I think we're on the 4th year now, and yeah, love it. It's been great.
What ThoughtSpace stuff are you bagging currently?
Ooh, Pathfinders. Love Pathfinders. I'm bagging Praxis. I love the Praxis. They're kind of straight throwing putter and they're straight throwing mid range. I've got a stack of Omens in my bag, which is just their version of a Firebird. It's a little bit more overstable if you've ever thrown one, for sure. And then the Coalesce is also fantastic. It's like a Thunderbird. You just got to call things Nova names, and people know what you're talking about.
And most people will figure it out. Yeah, you're not wrong.
Votem's pretty cool too. I'm a fan of some of the Votems. The Proctor Votems are really cool. But yeah, and I started throwing the Conqueror this year. Actually, that's the James Proctor disc. It's got ThoughtSpace art on it. It's made by Infinite. It's just the old PD2, but it's a pretty darn good disc if you got about 400 feet plus of power as you want an overstable distance driver.
So before we go, we're going to get into the rapid fire round. Try not to take too long with this, although I know some of my guests have kind of gone off script and gone a little crazy. What's favorite disc in your bag right now?
With my what?
Favorite disc in your bag right now?
Oh, I have to show you. I know I'm not going off
Okay.
script, but I have to show you because She Dizer sent this to me and I love it. It's his new Coalesce. Woo.
Oh wow!
I love it. It's even dyed the right way. I'm an OCD guy, so when it spins the right way too. So it makes me really happy. Coalesce
Sarah
from
does
She
a
Dizer.
great job with those.
Yeah.
Um, Favorite person to play a casual round with?
Ooh. Other than my wife, because that's the answer we give. I would say, wow, I could play around with anyone right now. Who would I play with? Probably my buddy Andy Spellman, caddy extraordinaire. If you've ever seen him in the videos with the jumpsuit on, it's always fun.
uh, Favorite course that you've played so far in your career?
Ooh, I'd say Maple Hill. I think it's got the title right now. Although I have a secret passion for Fountain Hills. I don't know why. It's not a super interesting course. I love water, and that course is almost 18 holes on the water. So
I was down in Arizona last fall. I enjoyed playing that course. I played one round there and one round at Vista. Yep, can't explain it. Like Fountain better for whatever reason. Even though it's just like highs are around the water, then highs are around the water, then keep it out of the water. But it's fun
it's I
course.
don't know. Yeah, secret or
Bucket list
guilty pleasure.
course.
I call Fountain Hills then. So
Um, what's your bucket list course to get to?
oh, um, oh geez, probably the course where they host your European Open in Nokia, I want to say.
Yeah, the Beast.
Um, yeah, if I could play that one. Um, yeah, or actually, I'm headed to Portland for the Beaver State Fling this year, and those were always kind of on my bucket list, so I can check those ones off, which I'm pretty excited about.
Uh, a dream foursome to play with. Can be anyone, anytime. Uh, if you want to go back in their prime, go for it.
Jeez, dream foursome. This is pros. These aren't. I'm omitting my friends from this list because they would make the list before the pros would. But if I'm playing with any of the top players, it would have to be Climo, it would have to be Wysocki, and it have to be Macbeth. I think they're the three goats or three people with the longest strings of success ever. And I think you learn a lot from, especially Paul Macbeth, honestly.
Regardless of how he's finishing in some of the tournaments this year, like he's still got it.
Yeah, I mean, Paul Macbeth might be 5'9", and the things like you meet him in person, it'll blow your mind how consistent he was and how dominant he was when he was winning. Yeah,
I he may not admit it. He's probably still dealing with getting over the injury, and he's got his head may not be 100% there with Hannah and the baby at home. So like when he finds it again, I think he's gonna go right back to the top of the field.
I think there's something to be said about drive too, and sometimes your priorities change when you have $10 million in your bank account, a McLaren, and a child and a wife. So I don't blame him one bit.
No, for sure not. And considering that he was the one of the main designers for the course where they're hosting Worlds this year,
Yeah,
it's probably also weighing on him a little bit. Just
yeah,
worried about how it's going to present to the public and everything else. So,
and I mean, look at he just Olympus and Throw Down the Mountain, right? He purchased that and built that. He's got another course he's designing with Dylan Cease, who's the pitcher from San Diego now. But awesome way to kind of transition your career into something sustainable and a lot of fun while still being involved in disc golf.
it's funny you mentioned Dylan because I was looking when he was still on the White Sox, I guess during spring training. I was looking at the Jays schedule to see when Chicago was coming through, and I think they came through on like might have been the weekend after May 2-4. I'm like, I don't know. The weather's probably not going to be great for that. For that, just like tell him to go to the island for one day. He'll appreciate it. And now he's on San Diego. They don't even come here this year.
Oh, really? Well,
so you know.
You know what? I wouldn't be surprised if disc golf at some level played a factor in him going from Chicago to, or at least soften the blow, so to speak. Oh, I
was
have
going to
to go
say
to
because there
California.
isn't disc golf in Chicago.
It's not as good. It's not as good. I don't think. Maybe Peoria, but I think that's a little bit outside
Fair
Chicago.
enough. And the last question, because I've added it recently, favorite disc golf commentary team?
Oh, my favorite disc golf commentary team is Philo Brathwaite and Ian Anderson, hands down. Love them. Would put them on any video that I was watching, and just be so happy about it.
Well, thank you very much for your time, Chris. Get some rest up before the weekend, and we'll definitely see you out at P15 on Saturday.
Okay. Hey, Josh, thank you for having a disc golf podcast and caring about it enough to do it. I appreciate it.
You know what? Just wanted to do something that I don't know, grows. Hopefully helps grow the sport. How the sport's seen in the province, because we're still kind of that. We're still a fringe sport for a lot of people. People don't know what it is, don't get it. Maybe stuff like this getting out there helps open people's eyes.
I think so. You're building up a base. There's a knowledge base here. There's people knowing other people and stories from the community, and it's just significant. So I appreciate it.
Thanks, Chris.